Hey everyone, Professor August here, and today I'm going to talk about the end of the academic year and kind of what happened throughout this academic year from August of 2024 to May of 2025. So let's get into it. So I'm going to talk a little bit about personal stuff first and then professional stuff. Um, and then show off some Legos that I just got, which I'm going to fill my summer with because who doesn't love some quiet time watching old I Love Lucy episodes and building Legos? So, okay, on the personal front, it was a terrible year. There's just no way around saying what happened. It started off terrible and just continued to be terrible. Our academic year starts in August and ends in May. And just like 10 days, 2 weeks before the academic year started in August 2024, my mother passed. And that was that was a terrible thing to go through as a family. And I have not coped with it because I just threw myself into work, which I'll talk about in a minute. But, I'm not going to talk about the state of the family and how everybody reacted because that's their business. But in my own personal case, I just had a really hard time coping with that event. Um, I don't want to say I shut it out. It's just I haven't dealt with it. So what ended up happening was after my mom passed in August, I went down to LA to see everybody to be there for the service, and then came back immediately. The semester started, so I just threw myself into work, uh, teaching a bunch of classes, doing a lot of extracurricular activities on campus, sitting on committees and our faculty senate. And so I just kept myself as busy as I possibly could. The problem with doing that, as most psychotherapists and psychologists and therapists will say, is not the best idea. So, right around November is when the internal pushing down of emotions just started manifesting in the most horrible ways physically. So I rarely would actually get sick. I might have a stomach ache or something here and there, but I would never actually be down and out for like days at a time. And in October, it just started happening randomly. Um, like I got pneumonia. I had just like aches and pains. Bones started hurting that had never hurt. And, I would tell my friends and they'd say, "You're getting old." And I'm like, this isn't aging. This is something else that's happening because it doesn't just like happen like overnight. And so I think it had a lot to do with just my inability to cope with what had happened at the beginning of the year or the beginning of the academic year. So in November, as those things started happening, another sort of, I don't know, psychological, mental thing started happening where I kind of just became unmoored from the like my daily decision making. And this is going to sound dramatic, but making decisions became more difficult on a day to day basis. And after I had time to sit with it and think about it, it really came down to one thing, and that was, as an adult, I hadn't really considered or consulted my mother about the decisions I was making, but I always had this silent prompt in my head about the decisions I was making. And all of that stems from when I was a teenager. So I made really bad decisions as a teenager. Like when I was 15, I made terrible decisions. I wouldn't change any of them because it led to where I am now. But I dropped out of school. Didn't finish high school. I got a GED. So I made like all these weird decisions that, of course, a 15-year-old would make, and an adult would say, like, "What are you doing?" But my mom never really confronted me about it. And it wasn't until I was about 17 years old when I was sitting in the living room and my mom, she didn't attack me or say anything mean to me as an individual. She was just relating a story or a conversation she had had with one of her siblings in which she had lied to one of her siblings about what I was doing. And it wasn't an accusation to me about like having dropped out of school and not being in school. She just sort of said like, "Oh yeah, I told so and so that you have a job and you're doing you know adult stuff, like you're grown up now and you're doing really well." I'm like sitting there on the couch jobless and out of school thinking that's not what's happening. um, but I could tell just from her face that she was super disappointed in where I had ended up. And it was in that moment where I said, okay, I'm going to live my life making decisions for myself that make me happy, but also decisions that aren't going to disappoint her. And I made the conscious decision, that effort, to listen to people who were going to guide me along the way and let sort of like shuffle me through to success. And I think that's a video that I have to sort of make separate from this one. Uh, but I sort of deferred to my mentors and my advisors when I enrolled in college to just sort of tell me what to do so that I wouldn't flunk out and fail in life. And that kind of worked. Like, my mom got to see me get a degree. She got to see me go to graduate school. She got to see me get my doctorate, become a professor. And all of those things seemed to make her happy. And I think subconsciously, all of this was just, I'm a child of immigrants. I wanted to, like, I wanted her and my dad to feel like they had succeeded in the American dream by having a kid who had succeeded in America. And like, that was kind of a silent prompt, or a like guiding light, which is a TV show. I think it is a TV show. I don't know if it's still on. It was a TV show when I was a child. It was my guiding light, sort of make decisions that aren't going to disappoint mom. Well, when she passed away, I like, it hadn't really occurred to me that as an adult, I just continuously made decisions that reflexively would be about my mother until November, when I had all of these on campus projects that I could choose from, and I got stuck. I didn't know which one to choose, because the reason I would have picked certain things was so that I could tell my family about it and tell my mom about it, and she was no longer there. And so things sort of like started crumbling in November. I had great students in fall semester, so I was able to just like talk to them and say, "Hey, this is what's going on." So uh, if I show up to class and it looks like I haven't slept, it's because I haven't slept. Like, I'll get into bed at 10 o'clock, won't fall asleep until 1 o'clock, have to be up at 3:30 to get ready to come to work, and it's a 2 hour, 2.5 hour drive. So by the time you see me, I am completely wrecked, because I am physically wrecked. So don't show up to class expecting, you know, a light show and jazz hands. I'm just going to try to get through the day. And so I was really open with the students. They understood exactly what was happening. Fast forward to spring semester, I was open with my students again. I told them exactly what was happening with the family, um, issues I was having at home, you know, constraints on my time because of responsibilities I had outside of the classroom. And because I was so open with them, I had a bunch of students, like, one at a time, just either stay behind lurking in a corner until everybody else left so they could come talk to me in private, or just like come to my office really early in the morning or really late in the day to talk to me, because they were going through similar things, and they felt like they were unmoored in their own personal lives. And so I found that just being honest with them made this whole situation a lot easier to get through, because instead of just keeping it all in and professional and showing up to work and putting on a show for them, sometimes I just couldn't do it, and I would just show up to class and say, like, group work time, like, today here's an assignment, I need you guys to work on this so I can just like get the next lecture prepared. And they understood, so they were really fantastic in that way. So, long story long, on the personal front, it wasn't the best academic year for me. So honestly, I don't have an answer. I don't know like how to cope with this, because I'm still super in it. I'm still busy as all hell doing campus work. I'm still teaching over the summer. It's a little easier during the summer because I don't have to be on campus as frequently as I did during the academic year, but I'm still like intellectually as busy as I was before. So I don't know. I don't have like an answer or a conclusion to this academic year on the personal front. Professionally, though, there were, I don't know, a lot of stuff happened professionally. Like, two things I want to talk about that are really good, and one that was not so great, which I'm afraid is going to continue into the next year and probably the year after and many years to come. So the two like really nice things. Uh, my colleagues were freaking amazing. Like, people who are in my department, in my division, they're just like holding me up. They knew how hard my personal life was going and what I've been going through at home, so they just holding me up, and like they would see me in the hallways or in my office, and they're like, you good? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. They're like, no, no, but really, are you good? And like, they would take the time and sit down and talk to me, which was really, really nice. Or I don't know, invite me out to lunch or dinner or to their houses and have a cocktail or something, whatever it was this academic year. Um, Something shifted for me on campus where I think because I let my guard down a little bit more than I normally do with my colleagues, they stepped up in a way that I hadn't expected them to. So that is a really nice little thing that happened. Another like nice work related thing that happened was around the end of November, December. I was just kind of thinking about what I wanted to do in the next year, in the next couple of years, and because I have a background in foreign languages, in addition to history and ethnic studies and literature and all these things, I decided that I'll approach one of the deans on campus who has foreign languages under his supervision to see if there's a desire to build up the foreign languages departments or like create a new program on campus. And a lot of my graduate education was in Uzbek and Turkish, Russian, Persian. I would love to teach those foreign languages on campus, but there's literally no desire for like Uzbek. I would love to teach Uzbek, but like nobody is going to register for Uzbek. Maybe like three people would register, but to run a course on campus, we need like 15 or 18 or whatever. There's a number that we have to meet every class to run. And I was like, okay, so just given the demographics of where our college is, the college is based in Fremont, close to San Jose. There's a huge Afghan population there. There are a lot of Persian speakers, Farsi speakers. And since I have the education to teach Farsi or like Persian language courses, perhaps that's the way to go. So I proposed to build a new acronym, a department on campus. It got approved. I got equivalency. So like the campus approved my ability to teach the language. So that's kind of where we're going to go next year is to start building out the curriculum. So that was like a nice little positive thing that I was able to um, just keep myself busy with throughout the academic year was like tinkering with new programming on campus. Negative stuff, I don't know, just like the day-to-day stuff that comes up, like rude people, that happens all the time. But there's like one issue that I know every faculty member is dealing with this right now, so it's not like I had a problem that nobody else had. I think I had a problem that everybody else had, which is artificial intelligence, AI. It was just so damn rampant this year. Luckily, not so much. Like for the most part, my students were really, really good with not using AI to get the answers for like essays and I don't know written assignments. Of course, there were times that students would use it and they would get caught because our submission system automatically flags artificial intelligence. And of course, like I use AI too, so I know exactly what the prompts are and I know what the responses sound like. So it like I don't even have to look at the data from the campus to know if a student submitted AI work. I can just sort of tell by reading the first couple of sentences if a student wrote it or not. And then if it is, I'll go look at the data just to prove it. But there were instances where I know this for a fact. Okay, at the end of the semester, there were like some students who were just like really, really open. They're like, "Well, I used AI and I didn't get caught." And I'm like, "No, honey, we know you used it because we can see that you used it. It's just if you used it in like week 13 and we didn't say anything, it's because we're just waiting to see if it's a fluke or if it's a thing you're doing deliberately. Because, yeah, sometimes you forget to turn off Grammarly and it'll like fix some stuff and you submit it and our campus system flags it. Um, so I'm like, just just because we didn't say anything, didn't realize, like, don't think we didn't catch it. We just chose not to say anything in that moment. There were other students who, from like week one, it was just incessant. It was like every assignment or every other assignment, they would run it through ChatGPT or they just like copy and paste it from an artificial intelligence site and submit it. And I'm like, you're just not going to pass this class. So you can either drop the course or you'll just keep getting reported to the vice president's office and you'll get expelled. That's just the way it is. And yeah, so students would either drop or like they like apologize and stop using it for a little while and then revert back to using it and then get in trouble again. So that was kind of like the biggest issue I was having this academic year with students and just like professionally was just the incessant AI usage. I don't know. I've talked to colleagues before about this where I think like this is such an early stage with AI that there are no ethical rules around usage, and a lot of faculty fall into the camp of like, don't use it at all, or here's how to use it for my class. And I'm more of the don't use it at all for my courses because I just want to see what you think. I don't care about how well you write. Um, but it's kind of equivalent to when I was in school and Wikipedia started becoming this big thing, and there was no ethical usage around Wikipedia. So as students, we would just go onto Wikipedia and read what it was, or like copy paragraphs and alter the words and submit it as our own assignments until we learned how to actually use Wikipedia. So it took a few years for our teachers to sit us down and say, this is what this website is, and here's how to use it as a resource instead of this horrifying thing that was going to change education forever. I think that's where we are with AI. It's too early. We don't really have rules around how to use it properly. And students, for the most part, the ones who do use it aren't using it ethically. So they'll just copy paste or copy it and then change a few things and act like it's their own. Um, but for the majority of my students, and when I say majority, I mean like 90% plus of my students, it's clear they weren't using it. And it's really easy to tell from student writing when I ask for an informal response to something. If it sounds like a graduate student wrote it, then I'm like, yeah, this isn't you. Because I know what you sound like in person. I've seen your like in class writing. I know this is not something you wrote. But yeah, like it it was bad, but it wasn't like the worst thing. So now the academic year is over. Summer is here. I'm working throughout the summer, which is fine. I have classes throughout the summer, and then I'll have like a 2 week break before fall semester starts. I have a little trip planned to go see family in Los Angeles. Um, in my downtime, I'm just going to be reading. I'll be making more videos about books I'm reading because I don't know, it's what I do for fun. But also, I have these. These are so cool. Um, I love me some Legos. So this, I don't know if y'all can see it. The glare is terrible, but you can look on Amazon or Lego's website. This is the Sherlock Holmes Lego book Nook set. So once I build this, it'll just slide into the bookshelf and replace like 2 books on the bookshelf. And so I did treat myself at the end of the academic year, and I bought the 3 that are released right now. So that's the Sherlock Holmes one, and we have the Harry Potter one, which I don't know. I think I'll build this after my trip down to LA. The first one that I'm going to build though is the one I'm most excited about. Is the Lord of the Rings book Nook set. Uh, this has Balrog on it, and I am just gonna. I don't know. I think this might be my Sunday. I'm gonna just sit and watch old episodes of Big Bang Theory or I Love Lucy or All in the Family and build this, and then once I do, I'll show it off because I think this is a really cool idea. I love Legos in general, but I don't like. I feel like this product line was made just for me, and I'm going to choose to believe that it was because nobody can stop me from believing that. Anyways, so that's the sort of wrap up for the academic year. Hard, but I'm glad I got through it, and now it's time for a little bit of a rest. I hope your academic year went well. I hope you have a nice summer. Keep up with videos. I'll keep posting throughout the summer. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe below. Catch you in the next video.